Welcome to July Tales Point High Book Club, and we've been reading The Bride by D E Athkins. Sorry, I'm a little late. I realised I hadn't got a drink, and it's really warm, so I thought I better just dash down and get a drink. So now I'm even more hot now. Sweating. Oh, I hope you guys are okay and you're not too warm. Right, I'm just going to add in our fab guest, the brilliant Lorien Lawrence. I'm so excited to talk to her. A huge. Again, hopefully. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hiya. Oh.
What?
There we
Okay.
go.
Got
Are
my
you
camera.
okay?
I'm good. How are you? I got my tea. I'm ready. Let me move this back there. My tea. I'm like,
People
sorry, I
are
like
all.
messed up the time difference. You'd think that would be like ingrained in my brain from all of my like chats with my hubby when he was still
Oh,
there.
I'm
But
always getting the time difference wrong, honestly. Like, Dustin, bless him, always helps me with like time zones and things because I am terrible. And yeah, it's took me a while to like learn the time differences, and I'm sure I still get it wrong.
I still know them. I don't even know how many we have in my own country half the time because Arizona's got to be weird and like, oh, we're not going to have any kind of time change over here. But like, it's been nice. But it's nice to meet you in
Yeah,
person, like
nice to
person.
meet you. Oh, thanks for joining us. And at the start of the year, I asked people, like, any guests that you'd like me to try and get on, and you were suggested, I believe, by the
Aw,
lovely Milena, who's a big fan of your book.
aw,
So I was like,
hi,
oh,
Helena.
yeah. So I thought, oh, I've got lipstick on my teeth. And so I thought I would ask you, and you said yes. And we
I'm
picked The
excited.
Bride
I know. What
to
a
read.
fun, what a fun book. I had never read it before. And
No,
then I like
I
read it in
hadn't.
June because I was like, wait, we're doing this in June. I'm all over the place. And I read it so I'm so happy you like sent me your notes because then I was sitting there like a good student reviewing one.
I know
But
you
it's
read it so early when
I
you
know.
messaged me and said, I've read it already. I was like, oh, wow,
Because
so
I
organised.
it wasn't me being like a super good student. It was me like panicking, thinking because it was the end of the school year for me, and I'm a teacher,
Mm.
and I was like, oh my God, it's like I have to read this book. I need to read this book, and I put it in my calendar, read book this weekend, and then I was very proud of myself that I did it, and then I was like,
Oh.
oh, I'm a month early, but it's okay.
That's all right. We don't mind. And I've just seen Karen said, oh my God, just realised who the guest is, Lorian. And that Milena is She Gathered Books. Said, yay,
Oh,
thanks for
hi,
remembering, Shelley.
Alicia. Thank you for recommending me. I'm so excited.
Oh, well, if you don't know who Lorien is, Lorien wrote the brilliant Fright Watch series, which started all with the Stitchers. And then on my Kindle, I have the other two, so the Collectors and then Unmasked as well. And they are brilliant. I am a big fan, and they were just
Oh,
so,
thank
so
you.
good. If you love point horror or Goosebumps or anything like that, you will love these books. They're fantastic. Chef's kiss.
Thank you. You're so nice.
And you've got a new book coming out March next year, which is The Many Hauntings of the Manning
Yeah.
Family. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, I would love to. I'm hyped for this one. It is not part of the Fright Watch series, but it's set in the same universe. So I do have some little Easter eggs, little throw
Ooh, I love
call
that in
outs to like
books.
South Haven. And I just want to I don't know if in the UK you use the same terminology as like middle grade versus young adult, but my books are middle grade, so they would
Yeah,
be for slightly younger kids than like your point horror or young adult reader.
yeah.
But so these are two middle schoolers. It's kind of like The Conjuring for kids, is how I pitched it.
Ooh.
So I live in Connecticut, and where I live in Connecticut, like literally like a mile away from me, is where the Warrens lived, Ed and Lorraine Warren, like with the Annabelle doll. My mom's best friend, when she was younger, dated one of their assistants. I was a waitress at a
Wow.
country club in high school. Like I served Mrs. Warren dinner and was scared the whole time. Like so this
Wow.
is kind of like a little homage to that. culture and family. So these two middle school twins, Trent and Gabby, are they're kind of like the descendants of a Warren type family. So the Mannings. And so they can see and talk to ghosts and that skipped their mom's generation. So she's kind of like this peak stage mom who's like, nope, we're gonna make more YouTube videos, we're gonna keep this legacy alive, and we gotta stay famous. And but one of their haunts goes really, really wrong, where they go to this abandoned theater and they go in, and it was like one of their grandparents' haunts that didn't go well. And so they go and don't know there's a demon there. And so the book is already two points of view. It's Quinn and not Quinn, geez, that's citrus. It's Gabby and Trent, and they switch back and forth, which was fun for me because I haven't done that before. But then it gets to 3 point of views somewhere along the lines because Gabby gets possessed by said demon, and so then it's the thing's point of view. So it was a wild book to write. It was so fun, and
I'm so
I'm gonna reveal.
excited.
I'm gonna reveal the cover reveal is the week of August 5th. So really soon I get to share the
Oh,
cover. So I'm excited.
I'm so excited. That
Yeah.
sounds absolutely fantastic. And me and
Thank you.
Melena, funny enough, have been working our way through the Conjuring films and
Oh,
doing like buddy watches
really?
together. Yeah, because
That
we've
is
never
so
seen
funny.
them. So we've been working our way through.
That is so funny.
Yeah, so that sounds so good. I'm so excited, and we'll definitely look out for the cover reveal. Definitely, I've just seen a
Thank
few
you.
people say, "Oh, Eddie May put OMG, The Conjuring for kids." Oh yay! Raj put that's so cool. Re the Warrens. Yeah, that is so cool. Yeah, adding to my TBR, Lisa said from B for book. Elena said, how exciting, the Warrens are so interesting. They are such
They
an
are.
interesting family. Like, they're just,
And
yeah.
I'll start out by saying, which might tie into our talk about the bride, but like I don't, my husband makes fun of me all the time because I'll be like, "Oh, we live in like such an old place. Connecticut's so old, so everything's haunted." And he's like, "It's not old. Like, come to England. Like, we've got, bathrooms older than your whole country." And which is true. But for our standards, Connecticut, is one of the first
Yeah.
colonies. And so like everything, especially in New England, feels haunted, but I don't believe in ghosts. I'm obsessed
Oh.
with writing about ghosts and monsters, and I always want it to be a ghost or a monster or something supernatural in things. But in my real life, I don't really believe in them, which might be kind
Ah.
of weird. Why I keep writing about
Interesting. Yeah,
them.
that's really
Yeah,
interesting to hear that you can write so good and write about them and then just not believe in them yourself. That's amazing.
I think I
Oh.
can write about them because they don't scare me. Like serial killers and
Mm,
real people scare me.
yeah.
So I can't read or listen to true crime or anything like that. So I don't
Wow.
believe the Warrens actually had these experiences. I think they thought they did,
Mm,
which is fascinating to me.
yeah,
But
it is intriguing. Yeah, definitely. And I listen to way too much true crime, normally before bed, and then I can't
oh
sleep.
gosh, no,
I
I can't
know.
do that.
Yeah.
People are way scarier than
No,
ghosts.
definitely. And are you going to delve back into the Fright Watch series eventually, or
I
is
would
that?
love to finish it. Like I have one more book that I would love to write that brings some closure
Mm,
to the series, but it kind of depends on how sales go and everything like that.
yeah,
So hopefully they'll let me finish it. We'll see.
yeah. So we'll
I
start
do
that
have an
petition.
idea of like what I would do to bring it to like a nice close, but the way it is right now, like um it's like Quinn and Mike's is kind of done, and then there's Marion's little companion story, but I would
Mm,
still like to like finish their trio together, but we'll
yeah.
see.
Yeah. Oh, fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
Thank you.
And Alex from the Book of Us, hi Alex, said I love the idea of ghosts but don't necessarily believe in them too. So
Same.
yeah. And
Yeah.
Scott said, absolutely agree that people are scarier. Yes. If you see me in the morning, that is scary.
No.
So have you ever read Point Horror before, or is this the first time that you've read Point Horror?
I I have read many point horror books, but not under the point horror umbrella. So
Yeah.
like I've read The Hitchhike, like I've read a lot of R.L. Stein books, but they were not, I didn't have the covers that had point horror on them or
Yeah.
like Caroline being Sweeney. Um, and my husband like gave me a bunch of his old point horror books.
Oh,
So
wow.
some of them I have like his version of say R.L. Stein's The Hitchhiker that says point horror, and then I have like my American one. And I was like, I don't really remember point horror being here, but I did look it up and it said
Mm.
we did eventually, but I think it was in like it was in the UK
Yeah.
first. Like
So
to kind of package them
yeah.
together, right?
So I think in the US you had them as like point or archway books, and then the UK kind of created the point horror banner and repackaged some of the books, and then they eventually went over to America that way. So yeah, so one way or another, they're like cross paths somewhere.
So I've read many. I had never read The Bride though. This was a
No,
treat. That
this
was a
was
lovely treat for the beginning of my summer.
yeah, and this was a first time read for me. I've never read this one. It must have passed me by back in the day. But all month I've been saying this is the first D E Athkins book that we've read, and I actually realised today when I was typing my notes up that that isn't true because she did ghostwrite some of the Nightmare Halls, and we actually read The
Oh,
Roommate, which was Nightmare Hall 2, was actually
oh
written
yeah.
by Nola Thacker, who is D E Athkins. So I've been saying all month, this is the first one, yay! And then I realised, oh wait, it's not.
I
But
didn't realize it was a pseudonym, and I didn't realize it was Deathkins until I
yeah,
read your notes, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah. So
so
she wrote
fun!"
as Deathkins, and then her other like middle grade pseudonym was Tom B Stone, so Tombstone, and I just
Oh,
think it's
that's
so
really
cool.
cute.
I always think like if you could write as like a pseudonym, like with a creepy play on name, like have you ever thought about this, like what you'd do? Like I was trying to think earlier what I would do, but I couldn't think of like I just thought like Skell Eaton
Yeah,
or something
I,
like that.
I was going to something with bones. I can't think of one that would be like cute enough, but I feel like
Oldie
the way that
Bones.
she did it was just like I'm just gonna split up the letters. I feel
Yeah,
like I would do something like
so clever. So that's why I always call her Deathkins because that's just how I
I like
remember her
that. That's what
name.
I'm gonna call her now.
Yeah, Deathkins. So yeah, so the bride then. So the tagline on this, because they always came with like really creepy good taglines. Some match the book, some not so much. But this one says, "Till death do you part." Dot dot
That's
dot.
a good tagline for this book.
Yeah. So there will be spoilers ahead for the bride, probably from the offset, so we can spoil away. And most people in the comments have read it. So if you've got any comments, pop them in, and I'll read them out. Cameron's put, I still remember when Shelley told us about Deathkins, and I've been amused ever since. Yes.
Same.
um, so essentially, the bride is about Jamie, who's thrilled to be invited to her cousin's Blaine's wedding. After all, it's going to be the event of the year, apparently. And Blaine, the gorgeous supermodel, is marrying the wealthy and handsome, and who we'll talk about later, Preston Alden.
Mhm. Yeah, we don't
It's a
like pets.
no, get in the bin. And it's a fairy tale come true, or is it? Because things start going very, very wrong. Someone tries to sabotage the wedding rehearsal, and then there's a mysterious fire. And could the dead bride ghost be haunting the wedding? I've lost my train of thought thinking about Preston there. Oh dear. Could the
It's
ghostly bride
okay. There's a lot going on in this book, in this tiny book.
be, be terrorizing the wedding and wreaking vengeance on everybody? Will they live to see the next day? We don't know. So we kind of open up then the chapter with like a glimpse. I'm presuming it's like a couple of weeks like before the wedding, or it doesn't really give you a timeline, but they're having like this wedding photo shoot, whether it's for Blaine's wedding or just a magazine little bit unsure. But we get to see like the cattiness of the characters, which I absolutely loved from the offset.
I agree.
And then Blaine having like kind of stabbed Alison's hands with the letter opener. And funny enough, Deathkins does use a letter opener in The Roommate, so she must be a fan of the letter opener stabbing.
I
Um,
mean, they are like scary. I mean, no one, I have,
mm,
someone gave me one. I have, but it's not like, I don't think I can. It looks
oh,
scarier in camera than
yeah.
it's on. But like, I guess they could stab someone with that. I guess they are sharp. Why do we have these? It's not hard to open paper, but like, I guess maybe it's a
Yeah,
weapon of
it's to
convenience.
save those little paper cuts you see, so we don't
I
we don't get the paper
I
cuts.
can't imagine, like, especially knowing what we know about what actually happens in the novel at the end. Like,
Mm.
I can't imagine, even though you have this is a revenge plot, right? And like you're
Yeah.
trying to do good by the end. I can't imagine stabbing someone through the hand. Like, it makes me question, like, is Blade okay? I mean, like, it's not. It is a very delicious opening, though.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was really good. I thought it set up the characters quite well because even though like it does end up being this kind of revenge plot, the characters don't really change. They are really that bitchy and catty.
Yeah,
And I kind of love that, and I thought it was all dramatic and yeah, just yeah, brilliant. I thought it was a good
it felt
opener.
very like. Did you get Melrose Place in England? It
Yes,
felt
yes,
very Melrose
yeah.
Place, like from the way the women talk to each other, the way like and I was here for all of it, but yeah, like the cattiness, the stabbing her with some like it all felt like a Melrose Place episode. Fashion, I did really, really enjoy um
Yeah.
when they described all of the outfits and the looks.
Oh
The
yeah.
Defkins did it better than R.L. Stine. I feel like R.L. Stine in his point horror books is always like, and she has auburn hair and a sweater vest that, and like a denim shirt underneath, and like high waist corduroys. And I feel like there was some better looks in this one.
There was. I think there was like a high neck, like some high neck kind of turtleneck fashion going on with
Yeah,
Blaine at some point. So even like when she was like not dressed in her best, she still looked
she,
really like fashionable.
yeah.
Yeah, still chic. Um, Your Worst Nightmare said this is a rare point horror cover fail.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't
The
love it. I think Shelley, you posted the American
Yeah,
version, and I
it's
liked it
just
better.
behind me
Oh,
there. I've popped it up.
that
Yeah,
one's better.
it is better. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree on that. Teddy said Preston. So we'll talk about Preston in a little bit.
Mhm.
Sharon said it felt like an odd Sweet Valley High at times, this one. Yeah, that's true. And Kelly said there's a lot going on and an awful lot of names. Yeah, Deathkins is kind of known for a lot of characters. Like when we
Yeah.
read The Cemetery, whenever we do that one eventually, there's about 10
Oh,
characters in
oh
it. So
goodness.
I'm going to need a mind map for that
A
one.
little sticky note to keep track of everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the bridesmaids in this one, I was like, I don't, it took me like through half the book to be like, okay, that one is this and that one is
Yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely. Kelly said that opening, I had to reread it as I had no idea what was going on. Sharon said, always felt weird the ghost bride would go after the bride and not the groom. Yes.
Agree, agree.
Mm. Yeah, lots of Preston hate, so we'll definitely have a chat about him. And Drew, yeah, we'll definitely talk about Drew. Teddy said the twist ending was so over dramatic, it was fantastic, so we'll have a chat about that. Yeah, Your Worst Nightmare, there was definitely a few unnecessary characters. Yes, definitely. Raj said this book brought out all the drama and the lols.
Yep.
um, Karen said, my brother has a letter opener as he's very particular about opening letters with a perfect line. Oh, I think they are just fancy items for fancy people. Yeah.
I think someone gave me, I've literally never used it because it scares me. So I just hang a skeleton from it and put it on my pencil case. But they're like, they're like really sharp. Why do we have
And Nerissa said you would have to use a lot of force with the letter opener, definitely. Although Sharon does say it doesn't take much pressure to break the skin. Sharon's got experience with the
Yeah,
letter opener. um, Heather says, failed charm school line was my favourite line. There were so many good lines in this book,
it
like
really
such great
did.
dialogue.
That reminded me a bit of Heather's. I know Heather's was earlier than this, but like
Mm,
how the friends talked to each other in that movie, there was like I feel like there was a lot of Heather energy.
yeah,
Not Veronica
definitely.
energy. I feel like this book was missing a Veronica, but like there was some good Heather energy.
Yeah, definitely. And I've just seen Kelly put about Jamie. So Jamie, I had to read back, and Jamie, it says that she was 13. Now I had to read back, and I was like, because always, she doesn't read like a 13-year-old
No,
character to me.
I
She read a lot
didn't read
older.
back. I didn't read back, and I teach 13-year-olds, and I thought she was 17, 18. Like I thought maybe she was graduating from high school and still living with her mom in this like kind of
Mm,
in-betweener stage. So when I was looking at your notes and you were like she was 13, I was like, "Oh my God, that makes every single interaction with Preston that much worse." And I saw someone
yeah.
put like, "How old is Drew?" I don't know how old Drew is, but
Mm.
I don't
It doesn't
eh,
say how old Drew is, but
I hope he's like 14 then or
yeah.
15 or I don't
I mean, he is Kelly's younger brother, Drew, so I'm taking it that he was around Jamie's age, I hope. Otherwise, yes, no. But yeah, Kelly said, I thought that Jamie was a pretty racy for point horror, the things that it was implying, definitely. So, what did you think of Jamie as like a main character? Did you like her? Like, did you like her energy and what she got up to, or you wasn't sure?
She wasn't my not really. Like she's like incredible. She slipped in between for me, like, and again, I thought she was a little older, and it maybe makes more sense knowing she's maybe meant to be like a preteen or a very young
Mm,
teen because they are all over the place. As we all
yeah,
were, like you think you're more mature than you are, and you think you have all this life experience that you don't, and that guides your choices. And like she just kept making these like ridiculous choices and saying the like that one part where like in the very beginning when she's getting out of the car with her mom and she's like, I found it, and she was like, maybe I don't fit in, I don't belong here. Yes I do. She thought I have the dark glasses and the attitude, and it's like
oh, love it.
that feels a bit like 13 to me. But
Yeah.
it's like she's 13-year-old kid hanging out with these like models who have lived, and
Mm,
these grown men or older guys like hitting on her, and it's all very exciting to her
mm,
a lot of the time. Like it says how many times her heart is racing when Preston is near her, and at
mm.
first like I thought she was um kind of into the attention she was getting from him,
Yeah, I
but
thought that
again,
as well to
and
start with.
but then other times it's like, oh, he seems dangerous.
Mm,
So again, if she's meant to be 13, then I feel like that is how a 13-year-old would
mm,
react to like
mm,
a handsome, wealthy older man. But then I was like, girl, it's your cousin's fiance. You're out there
mm.
for the wedding. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I thought, like yeah, I couldn't quite make my mind up on Jamie. I will admit. Like I was a bit like, yeah, did we really? This is going to sound harsh, but did we really need her point of view? Because we could have just viewed the wedding through, like, I don't know, I don't know
Ellie,
how they do it, but yeah, through
Ellie,
another
one of them.
person. Did we really need Jamie? But yeah, I thought the same as you. With Preston to start with, I thought, oh, she's liking the creepy attention, but then obviously, she makes it clear that she isn't as well. But the scene in the gym when she goes to the gym. So this is before the sauna and the hot tub.
So
when
hormonal.
when she's like judging this lady who's like all lycra up in lycra, I was like, I think she's like, I'm with the ladies who lycra and the boys who buffed, and
Yeah,
it
that
just like,
the choice line.
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess
So. Um,
Day that would be like the Lululemon type moms
yeah.
at the gym.
So a lot of her like her dialogue and that, once I realised, like you said, that she was meant to be 13, it kind of made sense and I thought, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, she does have some like some I think in that gym scene as well. I think she has like these like sexy thoughts, it seems like, about sweating and thrusting and that. And I think, well,
Yes,
she's growing up, bless her.
yeah.
She's
It
growing up.
it just also made me like, I mean, these women make really bad choices, even if for the end it's meant to be for like, for
Yeah.
justice. But it's like they consistently make bad choices along the way, and like throwing this young girl to the wolves essentially, and like this
Mm,
model, like without any real adult supervision. It's like maybe that's the mom and teacher in me that's like, what you doing?
yeah.
But it's like they're essentially putting her on, like feeding her to this
Yeah.
wild industry.
Yeah. Definitely. And even at the point when we find out at the end about that, the mirror trick that they do with the ghost bride coming out of the mirror, oh, they thought it was meant to be Preston's room and that. But even when they realise it's not
They don't
Preston's room, they
fix
still
it. They
don't.
just keep doing it. Yeah.
they,
Yeah.
one, they
That's
don't fix it, and two,
I
they don't let her in on the
yeah.
secret.
That's what I didn't understand when I got to the ending, and I'm sure we'll get to that. It's like, why wouldn't you just tell her? Why would you let her get scared the
Yeah.
whole time? So many people knew about this plot. Like, how many women were in on it? There was like a handful.
Yeah.
You couldn't have asked her. And then they said, like, oh, no children at the wedding because, it was too much scary things were gonna happen. Like, she's a child though. She's
Yeah. She's
13.
still a child.
Yeah.
Bless her, bless her. Sharon said the ghost bride appeared so early in the book. I was like, huh? She's literally just got to her room, no hanging about for Deckins. So yeah, we do kind of,
That's
you
true.
know, the ghost bride thing is kind of set up very early on, and as I've just mentioned, the coming out of the mirror. I mean, that scene was quite creepy. I thought with how they did that. It reminded me of The Ring. I was thinking,
Mm.
oh, creepy, creepy.
I
But
did like the creepy
yeah,
scenes that
yeah,
they had.
yeah.
That one, and like the birds, the doves. That was a good scene.
Oh, the
That was
birds and the
gruesome.
dove scene. Like, I had to reread that scene, and I don't know how I reread it because the first time I read it, it grossed me out completely because I was like, it, what is going on? This is the most random thing in a point horror that I've ever read. And it was, oh, I don't want to be too graphic about it because I know, animal cruelty and things, but the way they described when they were
It was
walking
just
across, but it's like, couldn't you have just avoided them? Like, there couldn't have been that many, surely.
they
Like,
all they all got like hit with them too. Like they were like everywhere, all these like dead
yeah.
birds. And then the ending was like, oh, don't worry, they weren't killed for this. They were just already dead for some unknown reason. Some magician just has like hundreds of dead doves laying around. Like that didn't seem
Mm.
like to wrap that up very well. Yeah.
And the thing is, as well, because that was the rehearsal for the wedding. So they were rehearsing the wedding over and over again, like numerous times. But it took till the very end. Could they not get the birds out? Was there a glitch?
Yeah.
Like they had to
I
keep doing it over and over again, and it was the final one where they released the birds.
They like made a
Mm,
plan, and they're like, no, we're committed. Like the ghost
yeah.
mirror, this is the room we chose, we're committed. The birds, this is the day we put, like they were just, these
Mm,
ladies were committed.
mm. Yeah, I mean that whole scene was just like
Bananas.
I couldn't believe what I was reading. I was like, what? So knowing what we know about the end now, would you have preferred it to be like a ghostly story with an actual ghost bride?
Yes and no. Um, I I really did want, I like when books have like tease something supernatural. I kind of want the payoff to be there,
Mm.
but I did love how it was these women who were like, I mean, they were bitches to each
Oh,
other for 90% of this book. And I liked that they had a bigger purpose and it were like banding together to take this guy down. But I kind of wish they could do that and the ghosts bride, like
Mm,
the what's her, I can't remember the woman who died. Dove. Her name was Dove, right? The one who died.
yes, stuff. Yeah,
I kind
yeah,
of wish Dove was actually a ghost too,
yeah,
and then she gets like, she gets to move on once they expose the truth or something. Like I kind of wish she was in there
yeah.
doing it with
Yeah,
them, but
maybe like
I,
an end scene or something with her just like watching them leave
yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
What
Yeah,
about you?
I, I'm like you. Like, I really liked the ending of it. That just did make the book for me. But I would have just liked a little cut scene at the end, just of this, like, ominous ghostly figure watching them out the window or
Yeah,
something, just to keep
same.
the memory alive.
And yeah, I always kind of always am like, oh no, no, like don't like, because also like I don't all of like I saw someone, I don't remember who said it, but someone was like, how much money and time did they put into this plan? And it's like, yeah, they put
Yeah,
so much time and energy and money into this plan, and it had so many moving parts. Like it's wild, all of the
yeah.
things they did to take this guy down, including faking a death, a crash
Yeah,
over. Like I don't even know how one would begin to plan something like that. But
yeah,
and then it's like, so then I'm still not understanding why you had Jamie come to this wedding. Like you,
yes.
to your earlier question, like was she needed? But like, did they need her, or do they know he was a predator, so she was bait? Like I don't know.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know
I
it's
hadn't thought about
gross.
that. Oh, but yeah, that car scene with the car crash, and like, I was just like, that could have gone wrong in so many
Yeah.
ways. And Alice, was it Alison who, yeah, it
Hmm.
was Alison, wasn't it? And she could have actually
Guys.
really died.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
they're like, no, it's cool because Clara knows science or
oh,
something. Like
yes,
Ray is like,
yes,
it's cool. She knows science. And she has a friend who's a magician, so we're
yeah.
good. It's
So
like,
that's it,
okay.
that's all they need to pull off the plan. And nothing go wrong. um, Karen put comedy outfits are talking about the outfits. Comedy outfits are key to a shonky horror, though. Remember Edward Cullen and his cream turtleneck under a beige leather jacket? That
So
was
that was a
supposed to
look.
be so hot.
There were some looks in Twilight.
Lisa from B for Book said the UK cover had lily flowers on. Oh yeah, yeah, had lily flowers on, and the book speaks about roses. Let us down, UK cover. um, just seeing Heather energy. Yeah, so you said Heather energy, and there's a Heather in the chat over June
Ah,
80s, bless her. Oh, Narissa said I thought she was 15, so maybe she was. I definitely read back and thought she was
still too
13.
young because it
Yeah.
says Preston's like older than Blaine.
Mm,
So I'm picturing like an older established rich man.
yeah.
I don't know how
Yes.
old Preston's meant to be, but too old for Jamie. Maybe too
Yeah.
old for Blaine.
I think too old for Blaine as
Yeah.
well, to be honest. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Emma's put in the 90s when she was 13, I was around older people at parties. So this felt quite authentic in that sense. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I remember that as well. We used to
Yeah.
go to like parties and you'd just be around everybody.
Mhm.
Your worst nightmare said, I agree, it really wasn't weird to hang out with people 4 to 5 years older in a group of friends. Yeah, that's true. I suppose, like, I don't know, I think as I've got older, I think I view it differently now. I don't know. I just view it very differently. But obviously back then, when you're a kid, you don't think about stuff like that. You just do it, don't you?
Yeah. You're so
Yeah,
impulsive too
yeah,
at that.
yeah. Yeah, especially at house parties, definitely. Karen said the whole explanation for what was happening required so many thousands of pounds to pull off the things like the car and the birds. Like, who has the money and energy? So much energy. Your worst nightmare said the car crash was so extra just for a prank. What the heck? Scott said the dove scene surprised him. And Sharon Weir said the sauna scene gave me utter panic. Now that is,
That is the scariest scene, I think, out of all of
yes.
them.
And like in my notes, I will admit, I did write, oh, Jamie was like being very over dramatic in the sauna. And then when I read back my notes, I was like, no, because I would be exactly the same in that situation. I would go into
Yeah.
total panic that I would like burn alive or dehydrate or something.
I
Yeah.
really like that. Yeah, that scene I thought was a scary. See, I told you, like the things that are real scare me the most.
Yeah.
And she was like locked in this hot sauna with no way out with this like sexual predator, and I was like, no,
Oh,
baby, get out. It's just like nightmare on top of
yeah.
nightmare. And I don't know how hot saunas get, but I have never been in one because they freak me out.
Mm.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I've been in one and they get hot. And the
Yeah,
thing is, she went from the hot tub to the sauna. So the hot tub would have made her hot already, like her body
yeah,
temperature. And then she went to the sauna straight after. And then, creepy Preston in that sauna, in the hot tub. Oh, just, we're
yeah.
just going
He's
to have to,
horrific.
yeah. So we're not a fan of Preston. Let's just rip it off like a plaster and just get it out of the way.
Yeah.
We are not Preston fans
He
or
deserves
Prez.
getting some, he deserves like to have revenge put upon him. I just wonder if they could have maybe done it differently, like streamlined it a little bit.
Made it a bit simpler rather than the whole wedding and elaborate
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
fake
But
wedding, fake death. It's like, yeah.
oh yeah.
Uh,
No, did he do anything else? So I got the hot tub and the sauna. Um, oh,
I've,
and then when like he's first
yeah.
introduced, he holds like Jamie's hand a little bit too
And
long,
he's
doesn't
kind of
he?
like checking her out every time she walks by him. It's like his eyes linger on her and he makes
Yeah,
her heart beat faster. And he's always like lingering in touch. Like it's just,
yeah, yeah. But he does seem to do that to all of the women, all of the
hmm
girls as well. Like I think when they're walking down the aisle in the rehearsal, it does make mention that he's like eyeing up, intently, like everyone who comes down, like all the bridesmaids and
Oh,
things like
gross.
that.
Blech.
And so he was just, oh, no, just
Yeah.
bad, just bad. But it did make me laugh that he was kind of panicked in that sauna a little bit. So I think that was the best prank that they did, albeit hopefully Jamie wouldn't have been in there.
Yeah.
But I think that was the best prank because it did actually get him a bit panicked. Girl dies in a car crash. He didn't seem that bothered, really, did he?
I just
But
like part of me. Okay, I don't want this to come. The person who hates true crime was kind of like, why couldn't that just be the thing that they like had a plot to kill him?
yeah,
Because his consequence wasn't, I don't feel like it had enough payoff.
mm,
Like, yeah,
mm,
okay, people, but like rich dudes like that, he's gonna walk away from that
yeah,
completely unscathed. And like maybe, yeah, they got to like let him know that they know, but did you need to do like all of that
mm,
to
mm,
just let him know that you knew? Like, I wish there was like a little more,
mm,
I don't know, danger or threat that they put his way since there wasn't an actual ghost or something that was gonna haunt
yeah,
him for the rest of his life. Like, clearly he can, have his girlfriend dies and he doesn't care. So
no.
he's gonna like maybe spend a week thinking about this and
And
then
then
move on with his
just be like,
life.
yeah. Because the thing is that if it wasn't for Stephanie, so Stephanie was Preston's sister, so she wasn't obviously in on the prank. But if it wasn't for Stephanie, the press wouldn't have known anything about weird things going on because she was leaking,
Oh,
things
I
about the wedding to the
forgot about that.
press.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you remind me what was her motive for doing that? I can't remember.
I think she just did it for the lols.
Just she was
Like,
a chaos. She loves chaos. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
she just liked the chaos, I think. But the thing is that part of their plan was not to involve the press, which just seems crazy to me because surely if you want to take him down properly, involve them. But yeah, so it was just a happy accident that the press did get a hold of the story, really.
Well,
So
they spent like all their planning energy on faking a car crash and having a fake ghost in the wrong mirror and all those birds. They didn't have time to like think of what's actually going to impact him, and his reputation is like hit him where it hurts, his money
Mm.
and reputation, and they kind of, yeah, they didn't hit either of those things. Like
Mm.
you're
Yeah, definitely.
so
Um, Claire put, I would have loved a glimpse of the real ghost bride approving of the pranks, maybe in the window as they drove away, like I
thumbs
said,
up.
yeah. And Kirsty said yes, and all the mentions of spontaneous combustion, which was such a thing to be scared of back then. Yeah, that's so true.
Oh,
Mm,
interesting. I don't remember that. We had a
yeah.
lot of wild fears in the 80s and 90s, like I'm,
Mm, yeah.
but
Normally like urban
Mhm.
legends, like that,
Mhm.
you know, that you
Yeah.
scared each other with at you know, sleepovers and stuff. Emma said, I thought Prez was doing it at a point because he wanted Blaine to run off so he could have her younger cousin. Oh, he was so creepy.
Ew.
Mm,
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him.
no. So, did you suspect anyone as you was reading it, or did you figure out what was going on, or?
I suspected the assistant. What was her name? Kara?
Oh,
Clara?
was it Claire? Clara,
Cla-
was it?
Clara.
Clara? Yeah.
Yes. I suspected
Oh,
her because I was like, she's too smart and too together to be hanging out with these messy women
yeah.
like all the time. That I just felt like she was there for another reason. I thought it was like a bad reason, though. I didn't realize it was she was teaming up with them, but she
Mm,
seems kind of like up to something else. And I did think that Deathkins did a good job of like pulling us away from her, which you know authors will try to do. Like she disappeared for long periods of time and
yeah,
then would
that's
come
true.
back in. So I
Mm,
thought it was I thought it was her for a while, but then it was like the payoff with her was hilarious. I think I like literally laughed out loud on the couch where it's like, no, because she knows science, so she can figure out all this stuff. Like I I was this is not where I shine, and math is not where I shine, but I don't think like I would be able to know how to fake a car crash off a freaking cliff. It's not even like on land. It's like went
went
over. It's just
over the
wild.
cliff. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I did quite like Clara. I thought that she was like, she did seem to be the one in control. And it wouldn't put it past me if she was the one who thought up all of these pranks because
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether the others would have thought of them. I don't know whether I'm being a
But
bit
then at the
unfair.
same time, the other one, like the ones were so ridiculous. It's like if you are like a woman of science, wouldn't you like I don't know. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess in their minds, they were successful, and I guess they got what they wanted.
yeah.
As a real human woman, I was not satisfied with what Preston got.
And also as well, we've got to remember Clara set up that whole um ghost over the party thing as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Like, I need to know the logistics. I can't speak today. The logistics of how that was even done because I was imagining, you know, like I think it's in Scooby Doo 2, the film where like the ghost like hovers over the
Yes.
museum thing. That's what I
Yes.
was imagining,
Oh my
and
gosh,
I
me
was like,
too. It felt the whole book feels very Scooby-Doo. Like,
yeah,
especially because there wasn't a real ghost, it really did feel like, aha, and we're gonna
yeah.
pull down the curtain and we've got all these like wild things that Claire cooked up.
And I think that was the point as well because they set like smoke or a fire, and I think Jamie was like up in this kind of like back room with Drew. Now, what did
Yeah.
you think? What did you think of Drew? On, I couldn't make my mind. I thought it was him doing it all. I will admit, I fell for
Mm.
the classic red herring that I thought it was him. So I was like really suspicious. But what did you make of him? Like I find him a bit weird.
Yeah, I didn't think it was him because I was kind of like they're pushing him to Deathkins is pushing him a little too hard. But the fact that
Mm,
I don't know how old he is makes me like not sure how I feel about him because like he's not aggressive. That's too strong of a word, but that I think it was that scene where like then the
mm,
fire breaks out like and they're up in that little room above and that
yeah,
fire breaks out. Like I I just felt like whenever a guy, no matter what age, corners a female
Mm,
who
mm.
he has to be at least younger than him. It just made me feel a bit like I don't know if I like where this is going, and then a random fake fire breaks out and it's like okay.
Yeah,
um
yeah.
but
And
I wasn't
did seem a
really
bit
sure what his purpose was except to be a red herring, and I don't
mm,
know why we needed him as a red herring because there were so many red herrings, like it's like
Patricia.
Claire, yeah, Patricia, the ex, even Allison, like
Mm,
at certain points because she's the one that got stabbed in the beginning, right? By
yeah,
Blaine.
yeah,
So like
that's
we
it.
have so many, which is a fun
Mm,
thing with the
mm,
book. That the fact that
yeah.
we have so many. It's like, oh, maybe it's this person, maybe it's that. I could not for the life of me guess the ending that we got in this book. So kudos to
Yeah.
Deathkins for that because but I'm still not sure how I feel about Drew. I see someone said he's
Mm.
a skis. I kind of
Oh.
I wanted it to have like this little meet cute at the wedding. He had nothing
Mm,
to do with it, but nothing he really did seemed very cute or
no.
sweet. So I don't really,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know that scene that you're talking about as well. I felt like he was like, things were going on, like you could smell the fire and that, and all he wanted to do was try and kiss her. So that's all he was like focusing on. And I think like before that, he like asked her if he likes to watch, and I was like,
Yes,
what?
that felt like a Preston line. And granted, I
Yeah.
work with like if he's say I don't know how old he's meant to be, but say he's whatever 13 or 14, similar to
Mm,
her. Like
mm,
they say ridiculous things,
yeah.
because they're trying to figure it out. But
Yeah.
it just felt coupled with Preston and how Preston was like someone just said point sleeves. Yeah. Like since
Yeah.
Preston was so sleazy, like I feel like my spidey senses were like tingling with him a little bit, whereas I just was like, Jamie, can you just like stay away from all these dudes? Like nothing, there's
Mm,
no one there for you at this party.
yeah. No, definitely. And then, like you just mentioned, well, we both just mentioned about poor Patricia. Well, I say poor Patricia, but why was she there? There was just no reason for
Would
her
you
to be there.
go?
Being,
Like I was thinking of that. Like would you go to your ex's wedding? Like especially if your ex was Preston, like in
yeah,
household, like would you? I wouldn't. I would
and
not
she's
go. I don't.
been
I mean,
rejected by
yeah,
him, and like enough is enough.
yeah,
She
yeah.
cannot do it anymore. But then I was sympathetic towards her until she was really judgy about the pancakes at breakfast to Jamie, and I was like, no one messes with the pancakes.
That was one of my
Mm,
favorite scenes. Like how bitchy they all got about the pancakes, and I was like,
yeah.
this is why I'm here. Hi, Robbie.
I saw Heather Overdue Notice said, I felt the ending was a little, let me provide bullet points of how we executed this while
Yes.
Athkins consulted their notes. Yeah,
Or
so
like
what?
when the detective in an Agatha Christie novel is
Yeah.
like in the living room and is like, "Let me break it down for you." It was giving me that energy. But to be fair, I needed it because I didn't know how the hell these ladies did any of the things that
Yeah.
they did, and I'm still unclear how they did any of those things. Like,
So did you like the ending? Like I was not expecting that ending at all. And as I said earlier, like for me, I thought it was an average book, but that ending I thought it was pretty good. I quite liked it. I love a revenge plot. How about you?
same. That kind of brought me back to like a Melrose Place episode. Like that
Mm,
felt like a Heather's or a Melrose Place or like something very like dramatic. And I really did like that it was the women trying to take down this guy. I wish
mm,
there was a little, and this could be, my 2024 like perspective on,
yeah.
you know, but like I kind of wish there was a little more payoff with what
Mm,
Preston got because I do think he's going to recover and just be,
yeah.
the same. I would have wanted him to be taken down a little more.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that happen, and seen what happened to him afterwards, kind of thing, and get his comeuppance. Um, So yeah, so I kind of, for me, like, I do love a revenge plot. Like, I just love it, and when it was unexpected as well. And
Yes,
I loved how, even though these female characters were like so bitchy and catty to each other, that they are supporting each other in a way, even though it's a long-winded way, to like get justice for their like dead friend. So I really like that, because normally, like, point horror girls are like just normally bitches to each other, and that's it. So it was like
that's very
quite,
true.
yeah, quite a refreshing change. But yeah, so, and I was relieved that the doves didn't die as well
I
when we
did
found that
like that
out.
the author made sure we knew that because
Yeah.
I was just thinking, like, even if you all have this amazing, like, plot for vengeance,
Mm.
you've killed how many animals for this, but it's still, like, I still think it's weird. So, like, what,
It's
the
still
magician
weird.
killed them, or the weird magician? I want a book about him, the weird magician friend who just happens to have, like, 100 dead doves in his house and is like helping them with these parlor tricks. It's like I would like him to
Yeah.
be a follow-up book.
Yeah, definitely the sequel.
Hmm.
um, Sharon Joy Reid says, such drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much drama in this book. Heather said, I was bummed that the big reveal was a secret bride. I wanted a real ghost. Yeah, because you get all that like
Build up.
drama again, like Clara using all of her sciencey stuff to like, have this ghostly bride walk down the aisle, and then they kind of like peel off. It's Scooby Doo
Yes.
ish, peeling off
Yeah.
the face, and it's actually, Alison, who's back from the dead when she didn't really die. But yeah, I did like that whole. I could see that playing out as like a movie, to be honest, like that kind of scene. That was awesome, definitely. And Scott put, I do think it's the most convoluted plot I've read in a point horror, but still loved it. Yeah.
I don't know, Scott. Have you read? I can't remember which book. It might be Hit and Run. Have you read Hit and Run by R.L. Stein? With
Yes.
that one with the piranhas?
Oh, that's the hitchhiker,
Oh,
the piranhas.
yeah. That that one might win
Yeah.
it for me.
Yeah, that was unexpected, definitely. Hit and Run is the one where they're like carting a dead body around, like here, there, and
Oh, and
everywhere.
the friend knows it, right? And
Mm,
she's like, "Oh yeah,"
mm.
and I was like, "Yeah." It was
Oh
like,
dear. Nerissa said, I just can't with prank plots.
yeah.
Yeah. I think if it's done well and they're like realistic pranks, yeah, but these was just so elaborate and like I
And
couldn't
it's kind
believe.
of like, why are you pranking him? Like he was an accessory to a death. Like get him prosecuted. Like just yeah.
um Eddie Ray put, my favourite cover has our lovely Shello in the Shelley in the shadows. Woo! Oh. Also Blaine, Kirsty said Blaine is definitely 21, so that means all the models probably were around that age, definitely. But yeah, definitely got the vibe that Preston was older than that,
Yeah.
maybe.
I
Oh,
think Jamie said he was older when she first sees him, but it never kind of tells
mm,
you how much
yeah,
older. But
yeah.
and the he needs to be in control line made me like, ugh.
Yeah, definitely. And Kirsty said Jamie's age is ambiguous. I think she could be read as 13 when Blaine left, which would make her 17 or 13 now. Oh, Kirsty's been back and checked for us. So the flashback's not quite in its separate paragraph. Yeah, it was a bit
Um,
confusing. So maybe she wasn't as young, but yeah. Claire said, I love the teaser chapter towards the end when we had a glimpse into all their thoughts. Oh, yeah. um there was a couple of times, I think, one when they're getting ready for the wedding and two when they're getting ready for bed, we suddenly randomly
yeah.
get these like little snippets of all of
Yeah.
their different thoughts, all of the characters.
Yeah, like
It's
Atkins changed the rules, like, and I'm not sure why. I kind of wish we were in all of their points of view for the whole thing because I know we talked about it in the beginning, but like, I'm not sure what Jamie added to it other than being very like that innocent, naive kind of, she's not part of it, so we're seeing things through her point of view. But I feel like it would have been kind of fun to be in the other women's heads throughout the whole thing, including like
yeah,
Patricia. Um, because that would have made all of them feel more suspicious, and
Mm,
they would be like, see, like I feel like we would get more of an understanding of maybe like how old Preston and Drew and other people are, because if Jamie's the youngest, even if she's 17, she's still very young and impressionable, and like
mm,
everyone's everyone's old to a 17-year-old.
yeah.
So like if it what granted 21, you're still quite young, but like
Mm,
I don't know, I
mm.
kind of was like, wait, what's happening now? Who's pointing down my head? Why are we doing this? But then I was like, in retrospect, I kind of wish the whole book was like that.
Yeah.
Um,
No, same. Yeah, it was just interesting. Like randomly, I was like, "Oh, okay, we've changed perspectives. Oh, we've changed perspectives again." It was just really randomly done. Cameron said their reaction to the sauna scene really annoyed me, as they totally gaslighted her. Like, nope,
yeah.
you weren't in any danger. It
Mm,
was lols, and she legit passed out.
yeah.
Yeah, that's so
That's a
true.
really
Yeah.
good point, and that's why it's like they're so irresponsible for every single one of these little
Mm,
missions they go on,
mm.
because they were trying to, hurt or scare Preston.
Yeah. And somebody could have actually really got got killed
Yeah,
or hurt.
and those two, that and the car crash, it's like you're playing with, I don't know. They're
No,
not super competent, I don't.
no, no, definitely not. Shaman said you'd suffocate in the sauna before you burnt, so there is that. Oh dear.
Silver lining.
I'm never going in a
No.
sauna again. I mean, I haven't been in one for years, trust me, but I'm never going in one now. Claire said, I thought it was a surprise reveal when reading the first one, and then I read on and I was like, I see what's happening here. Ah. And Emma's made a valid point. Why did they all date that creep?
Yeah,
Yes, they all dated Preston, all
yeah.
of them, didn't they? Did Kelly date him as well? Think, oh no, maybe
I
not
don't
Kelly.
think so. I don't think
Mm.
Kelly did. And Kelly I liked quite a bit out of
Yeah,
all of the women. Oh,
yeah.
Allison, was her name Allison? What was the
So
A name?
Alison was the one who got stabbed at
In
the
the car
beginning,
crash. Yeah.
and
She
the car
grew on me.
crash.
She grew on me like halfway through, and then she got like super bitchy again right before the car crash. And I was like,
Mm.
I'm just starting to like you. And then she like turned it to an 11, and then fake died, and then came back and was like, just kidding. But
Yeah,
I thought Kelly was,
yeah.
so then there was like a little point where I was like, Kelly's the nicest. Is it
Mm,
her? Is she like the bad
mm,
one?
yeah.
Um,
I
which
did.
is why again, I think
I
if it
really
was in
liked
like,
Kelly. I
yeah.
liked Kelly. Yeah,
Um, so going in their point of views earlier, I think would have been fun.
yeah, definitely. Claire said they should have had the sister who died as a real life ghost bride.
Hmm.
Yeah, that would have been so cool.
Yeah.
Just having a look. Emma said Blaine is a bad older cousin. What a thing to do to Jamie. Yeah, that's true.
That,
Blaine, like
yeah.
Jamie, really adored Blaine as like an older cousin,
Yeah.
didn't she?
She like
Really
worshipped
looked up
her.
to her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
definitely.
like you put her in danger not only with these pranks gone wrong, but like emotionally and like physically, and you subjected her to Preston. It's like, I,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Karen said, "Can I also highlight that they were all secretly? I can't say this name, Karen. Is it Lo Lo Lothos from the original Buffy movie? Am I
Uh,
saying that right? As everyone
Lothos?
kept,
Is it
yes,
Lothos?
Lothos. That's it.
Love
I'm so bad with
that.
names. Yeah. But yeah, because everyone kept saying, "Oh, police," but whenever I read that, I just kept imagining Roger Rabbit. You know, when he
Oh,
goes,
that's
"Oh,
funny.
please."
Oh, that's a really funny one. I mean,
That's what I kept
I
imagining.
do think of Buffy when I hear that, but now I'm gonna think of Roger Rabbit. I tried to, as an aside, I was like, oh, with my 7-year-old son, this was when he was 6, so I was like, let's watch Roger Rabbit. Mommy watched it in the movie theater when it came out, and I haven't seen it in a really long time. I think you'll like it. And then it gets to that part with like the shoe going into the dip.
Oh,
And all of a sudden,
traumatizing.
he's on my lap, and I feel this shivering, and I look down, and the
Oh,
blanket's over his head, and
oh,
he's sobbing, and I was like,
oh. Even now,
Yeah.
yeah, that does get you. It's up there with like the horse out of Never Ending
Oh,
Story, that
oh
shoe.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Traumatizing.
Yep.
Raj suspected Clara. Two, Claire said Clara or Stephanie. Kirsty said, I laughed so hard at the reveal about Clara too, with the chemistry.
Signs.
Yeah, Kirsty said felt very Scooby-Doo. Sharon said, I thought Clara too, as the others were hard to distinguish from each other at times. Claire said the whole burning bride thing was so extreme. Let's risk death to prove this point. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Eddie May said, I liked Drew, so naturally suspected him.
Hmm.
Stephen King has taught me that when I really like a character, expect them to die or be the awful one, and yet still, I still like them. Yeah, that's true. Sharon said Drew was always slipping his hands around her from early
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Very handsy. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Lisa from Beefy Book said, I thought it was Drew as well. He had no purpose. Yeah, he literally just had no purpose. Kelly said, as soon as the crash happened, I thought Alison wasn't dead, so suspected her. Oh, well done,
Oh,
Kelly.
you're right, Kelly.
Zombie the bookkeeper said Drew was a skis. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
you said earlier. Kelly says it was quite suggestive for a point horror. I thought a lot was being implied. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. But maybe like if she was a bit older than what we're thinking, then that does kind of make sense a little bit, I guess. Karen said, yeah, for the crash, we could hear her screaming in the fire.
Yeah.
Followed by she was instantly unalived at the first impact. Yeah. Mm. Sharon says, honestly, I spent most of this book laughing at the ridiculousness. It was just crazy. Your Worst Nightmare said, ghost brides and car crashes can't stop a horny boy on a mission. Definitely. Oh dear. Oh, hi, Bobby. Emma said Drew also made a quip about Jamie never spending a night with a guy. Oh yeah. And Blaine at breakfast was looking at them like they'd been up to
Uh,
naughty things. Yeah.
oh, I don't. Okay, I don't remember that line that Drew
Yeah.
says, but that makes me like him even less.
Sharon Weir said for a short novel I got a little lost. Yeah. It was all them characters.
Yeah.
There's so many characters.
We really didn't need Jamie or Drew. I feel like it could have been really
Yeah.
satisfying with just the bridesmaids and
Yeah. Emma said, I love that Blaine sent Patty the pancakes with bacon and whipped cream, ruining the diet. Yeah, so she ordered room service, didn't she,
yeah.
for Patricia? And it was like pancakes with all the works. Oh dear. Alex from the Booker Bus said, I enjoyed the ending, ridiculous and convoluted but fun. Emma said, rich folks are above the law, so maybe this is why they decided to prank him. Yeah,
Maybe.
that's true. Yeah. Have you ever seen a film called Promising Young Woman? It's called. No.
No. It's pretty new, right? I've heard about it.
Yeah, a couple of years. It's got Carrie Mulligan in it, but
Okay.
it's a revenge plot, and you just gotta go with it. But the ending, yeah, it's
Good.
good. I do
All right, I'll add it
recommend
to
it.
my
Yeah,
list.
I do recommend it. Give it a go, and she's brilliant in it as well. Kirsty said, I think Kelly said she had wanted to date him but didn't. Oh, so wanted to date Preston but didn't. See, she's got sense. Sharon Weir said Patricia was just extra. Scott said Drew was top of my suspect list too. Yeah, he was so suspicious. Claire said we traumatized my daughter with Roger Rabbit too.
But
Yeah.
I'm not alone.
Karen said lols that Stephen King rule of totties. Baddies is true for me in real life, as any time I dig a celebrity, they get arrested for drug selling or boat robbery.
True. Or they turn out
Oh,
to just be an awful human.
And Lisa said, I forgot the pancake order. I cackled so hard. I love the Mean Girls feel. And I think that kind of sums up the book,
Yeah.
really. Like, it was Mean Girls and just, yeah, supermodels being bitchy with elaborate pranks that maybe didn't make sense. But we went with it, and I quite enjoyed it in the end, I
It
think.
was fun. It was a very fun, unexpected. I do
Yeah,
love when I don't know what's happening and I think I have it figured out. I really did think there was a real ghost till the
yeah,
end. I thought it was going to be supernatural. So I
yeah,
think, like,
definitely.
yeah, that was fun.
Well, thank you for being our special guest and giving Point Horror a try. Well, not a try, but giving Deathkins a try.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like Athkins. I'm going to look at what's her real name? Nora something? You said?
Nola Thacker, her
No,
real name. But I'm not sure that she ever wrote under
under that
her
name.
real name. I might be wrong, but I've not known it. I've not seen anything. But yeah, so definitely under Tom B. Stone or Deathkins. There's a few books out there, but yeah, like I was a bit nervous about this one because she hasn't got the best reputation, like in the Point series or the Point horror, mainly for having lots of characters. So at least
Yes,
she stood true to that. But overall, I really liked it.
me too. It was really fun, and I like that we read it during like what most people consider wedding season.
Yeah, and thanks to everyone who sent wedding pictures. I'm going to put them all together over the next couple of days and do like a nice little reel of everyone's wedding pictures as well. And
Oh,
yes,
fun!
the author blurb at the back, if you haven't read it, is hilarious. I might try and share it on my stories after this, but yeah, her
So
author bio
her
at the
author
back.
bio.
Yeah, so I'll put that up in my stories
So
after the
fun.
chat. But a lot of people are saying they really enjoyed this one as well. So yeah, yay for
Yay
Deathkins!
for Athkins! You did it. You did the thing.
Yeah, revenge. Even though it was elaborate,
It
we were
was
there
very
for it.
elaborate.
Oh well, thanks ever so much, and
Thank you.
do check out Lorien's fantastic Fright Watch series. I've only got this one hard copy, and the rest are on my Kindle, but fantastic, and I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited for the book next year. I'm going to look out for the cover reveal and share it
Thank you.
when that goes up. So thank you, and thanks guys in the comments. Your comments have been fantastic as well and reminded me of things I'd forgotten
Yes.
as well, so thank you very much guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks ever so much.
Bye.
Bye.